We were all British and we all had to do southern accents that under no circumstances should sound anything like Forrest Gump. Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos involves place names and in particular how we pronounce them. And when it comes to the British-American divide, I'm led to believe that this is surely a one-sided affair. After all, we Brits love to poke fun at American attempts to pronounce the likes of, Leicester, Worcester and Warwick, even though all three are readily named within the state of Massachusetts. But hold on, because after living in the US for more than a decade, I've come to realise that it's not just the Americans that struggle with locational phonetics. We Brits, myself included, are absolutely woeful. The Spanish would giggle at our pronunciation of Uruguay or Chile, and the Americans, well, let's just say that I've made an enormous hash brown of my tomatoes, and it's time to come clean. That's right, since moving to the US, I've completely lost count of all of the places I've utterly mispronounced. It's as if the poem at Ellis Island should read, "Give us your tired, your poor, your muddled articulation." And today I'm going to do precisely that. Here are 7 American places that I've been saying completely wrong my entire life. When I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with all things America. At one point, it got so out of hand that I actually learned all of the state capitals in a week. I was like a magnet for information, less so for girls, but the problem was I learned all of it from a book that didn't contain a pronunciation guide. For all I knew, Vermont's capital was spoken precisely like the French city after which it was named, Montpellier. It was only after addressing yet more YouTube comments that I discovered locals opt instead for Montpelier, a city whose French origins are by no means unique. When I lived in Indiana, not only did I have to contend with subversive takes on human phonetics like Terre Haute, Notre Dame, or Cherville, but just south of the Ohio River was a curious city of whose pronunciation I had been heartbreakingly assured, Louisville. Now, while locals might well give me props for stopping short of Louisville, they might, as YouTube commenters have in the past, remind me that they somehow articulated in just 2.5 syllables. Louisville. The city was named after Louis XVI, and I'm not sure what he'd think about all of us reducing his name to a, mumble. That said, he can probably take comfort from both the duvet that he's wearing and the fact that an entire state was also named in his honour. And that state's largest city is this. That's right, down in the southeast of Louisiana, just up from the mouth of the Mississippi, is a city they call the Big Easy. The problem is, pronouncing it is anything but. You see, I'd always defaulted it to how Marty sings it in Back to the Future, remember? During that rendition of Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good, he lays down some riffs and declares, "Deep down in Louisiana, down in New Orleans." It even rhymes with evergreens, just in case you were in any doubt, but this is not how the locals say it. A fine example of how they do can be found in the form of Berry's contemporary, Fats Domino. A proud native of the Big Easy, Domino once sang, "If I'm walking to New Orleans," or something like that. Meanwhile, I'm reliably informed that the even shorter option of Norlands isn't usually spoken by residents themselves, but is what tourists think residents say. It's sort of like how people in Frisco don't actually say San Fran or Frisco, which brings me back around to those tricky Spanish names. Bring on our next entry. I'm just going to say it, my sincerest apologies to the people of the Silver State. You care deeply about your state pronunciation, and for that I commend and fear you. The truth is, I, along with millions of others, have been saying it wrong for decades, at least according to the locals. We couldn't help it. We didn't know any better. I mean, we took the example of other Spanish-derived words like, avocado or piñata or tomato. Actually, that last one is a bad example. And assumed that your state just followed the same rule, that the second vowel was equal to that in tostada, Nevada. But I wasn't born yesterday. In both Britain and America, it's perfectly normal for the rules of articulation to go out of the window, and I, for one, welcome that. So, from this day on, I vow to the people of Nevada that I will pronounce it Nevada. What's that? There's a city in Iowa with the same name. It's pronounced Nevada. I give up. Bring on an easier one. What in Kurt Vonnegut's mustache is that, in the parlance of young people, there's a lot to unpack here, so let's get into it. If you're not familiar with this city in New York, let me tell you all about it. It's in New York, it's a city, and it's the absolute Mickey Rourke of hard-to-pronounce place names. First of all, there's the small matter of the first consonant. In similar fashion, Brits and Americans frequently clash over the other's pronunciation of schedule. The Americans pronounce it just as I did, while the British either opt for that or schedule. Perhaps it was hearing the latter so often, or, studying German for 3 years, that convinced me that the city's first consonant was sh. And then there was the rest of the word. Was it Nectady or Nectady? Or should the emphasis be placed on the first syllable? I believe my first guess was Schenectady. It was only while chatting with one of my fabulous patrons that I discovered its true delivery. Schenectady. You see, the name is derived not from German, but from the Mohawk word Schenectady, and is by no means the only native-inspired word that gave me trouble. In fact, here's a more famous one. Let me tell you a story. 15 years ago, I played the character of Mitch in A Streetcar Named Desire, a play set in the French Quarter of, you guessed it, New Orleans. It was a university production, we were all British, and we all had to do southern accents that under no circumstances should sound anything like Forrest Gump. I recall delivering the following line at the read-through. "All quiet on the Potomac, Jenny, Blanche." So it was a weird time, but weirder still was that no one knew any better. They couldn't warn me just how horribly I was butchering the American River and the New Orleans dialect, and opening night wasn't an ideal time to find out, though I'm still thankful to that audience member for letting me know mid-show. And having now sailed that very river, I can say with absolute confidence it is pronounced Potomac, if only our final entry, itself of native origin, sparked as much confidence. Whether I'm referencing the cultural region or the mountain range, few places in the US elicit such impassioned debates as this one. Originally the name of a Muskogean people of northwestern Florida called the Appalachian, it was transcribed by Spanish explorers as this, and would have been pronounced Appalachian. As it happens, the word's phonetic history lends credibility to the present-day assertion that this way is correct. Indeed, that assertion is most prominent among those that live there, particularly in the central and south regions. So, does that mean that Appalachia, the usage of most Americans, and let's face it, me, is wrong? Well, I suppose that depends on your point of view. Personally, I'd like to do as the locals do, once I've learned the error of my ways. So, with that being said, here's to Appalachia. May long it continue to test both my diction and my calf muscles. That's it for this episode. Please let me know in the comments below how you pronounce these places. Please also click the subscribe button to ensure that my videos don't get lost in the pond. A big shout out tonight to all of my patrons who make this channel possible. Without you, none of it would be, from the research, the technical equipment, and the elocution lessons. If you would like to become a patron of this channel, you can do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond. All patrons will have access to my secret live stream, and those pledging $5 or more a month will get that, plus my secret podcast, and more. Until next time, whether you think it's Appalachia or Appalachia, have a very brilliant day and join me for more Vlogmas tomorrow. Goodbye. Thank you for watching this episode of Lost in the Pond. Don't forget to hit my stupid little face to subscribe, and please share this video with the world. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and if you would like to support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond.